Hi, I'm Vicky, and today I'm talking about why I love my layens hive. Uh, this has been my first year of having a layens hive, and there's been just so many positive experiences and so much I would say to really recommend it. And I know that in the US, many people have layens hives. It's not a big thing. I'm not going to preach to the converted today. But in the UK, it's a little bit more unusual. You often struggle to even get hold of any supplier of layens hives. And so today, as it's turning to autumn, it's given me an opportunity really to reflect on why I love my layens hive, and perhaps to impress upon you how you might be able to enjoy a layens hive too. I came to using a layens hive totally by accident, really. I'd been booked to go on a course here in Monmouth just less than a year ago, a course put on by the charity Bees for Development, which is based here in Monmouth, and I was due to go on a skep making course. So I turned up at the Shire Hall ready to go on my course, and oddly enough, I'd found that I'd actually turned up a day early. It was strange because that really isn't like me at all, but it turned out to be a very happy accident, really, because when I arrived, I could see that there was another course going on, a beekeeping course, and but this was a sustainable, natural, treatment-free beekeeping course, and this guy who I'd never even heard of, Dr. Leo Sharashkin, was leading this big two-day course. And when I went into the room, I saw that there were people from Britain, from Europe, people who'd travelled from overseas to attend this course. And there was a palpable excitement that this was clearly quite a big thing going on. And so I decided, well, I'm here for a course, so why not go on this course? And that's really how it started. So I took plenty of notes, as you can see. I took plenty of photos. Here's Dr. Leo and some of his notes, some of his slides. I mean, it was a brilliant presentation. I was totally gripped because his whole manner, I feel, is one of he's sort of evangelical about beekeeping, about local bees, about having the right hive, about this natural interference-free approach, and he spoke so well. And after that two-day course, I knew that that was going to be the way I was going to keep bees, or perhaps even host bees. As I've said before, it's not so much about, for me, never about being a honey farmer, but giving bees a home and perhaps being able to enjoy some honey as well. So after that autumn where I'd attended Dr. Leo's course, I decided to order a hive. It arrived in February, but I hadn't really thought about where it was going to go in my garden. I have, it's a relatively large garden for an urban garden, but it's not acres by any stretch. So I was having to think quite hard about where I was going to put it, and basically the hive was outside the back door for a few weeks, and then one day when I'd gone outside, I could see that little scout bees were popping in and out of it. Well, this was clearly very exciting, and I ran upstairs to my husband saying, we've got to move this hive because there might be a swarm arriving. Anyway, a swarm didn't arrive straight away, but certainly within so many weeks, by the 30th of May, a swarm did arrive, and I put the hive in a couple of different places. It seemed to engage a lot of interest from scout bees, so I knew I had a good hive. And again, that's what Dr. Leo says, get the right bees and the right hive. So finally on that day, it was an amazing experience. The colony arrived of its own accord at 11 o'clock in the morning. So here is my hive itself. I was able to get it from horn. I know that some people actually make their own hives, but that's not something I'm able to do. And it's all a bit quiet at the hive at the moment. There's been some terrible weather here in the UK, but I'm hoping they're all doing okay. So this is a very sturdy top, and one of the main features, I've pointed this out before, is that when you lift the top, you basically have, the bees aren't exposed, so you can start to take a look but without exposing all of them, disturbing them or upsetting them. And I've put this here, this is an alpaca wool pillow that I've set up just to give a little bit of extra insulation to this brood area of the hive. But the frames are as deep as the hive itself, beautifully made, lovely thick wood, because the idea is to give them the same kind of accommodation as they would have chosen themselves if they'd found a tree to live in. So that's the whole principle of it. Keep it natural and give them the best hive that as good as replicates what they would naturally choose. I've closed up one of the entrances. We have had wasps here, and it's basically, the idea is that the bees will sort of choose their own whichever entrance they prefer, and it's best then to block up the other one. So in the coming weeks, I'm going to be thinking about how to set this hive up ready for the winter. One of the best aspects of the hive for me, as well as it being so good for the bees, I believe, is that it's actually quite easy to manage the whole hive maintenance. I do this all by myself. The lifting is minimal. Certainly I know that in the UK many people have the national hives, which are vertical hives that stack up with honey supers above. Well, really for me there would be no way that I could be managing that on my own, and this has to be something that I'd manage on my own. And one of the great messages that I picked up from Dr. Leo's talk was he explained that Russian farmers of years ago would have had thousands of hives on top of everything else they would have managed, their sheep, their cattle and all of that, and it would largely be children overseeing what was going on with hives, probably log hives, and really it would just be about going in once a year and taking the honey if there was any, but really there was no emphasis on generally proactively managing a hive. The idea is that they just manage themselves, and you just give them the bees the very best home and the very best environment, so they have the very best prospects of success. The weather isn't so good for going into the hive today, so I'll leave that for now, and I hope you'll join me for my further hive inspections before the turn of the year. But really what I wanted to say is, if you have a wish to keep bees, to see bees thrive in your garden and help to support bee populations in a natural way, then I would really recommend get yourself a layens hive. You don't need a farm, you don't need acres of land. As long as you're sensible and safe, then I would say this is for anybody to do, and I would thoroughly recommend it. So go and get your layens hive, and if you've enjoyed my videos, then please subscribe and press a like, and best wishes to you all. Bye bye.